The people of Edo State in September will be heading to the polls to elect the next man to lead the state for the next 4 years. Political parties are gradually laying the necessary foundations as the month of September draws near. By the end of February, all parties will have conducted their primaries to select official flag bearers. The ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, says it is the party to beat in the governorship election. As incumbent, we are hoping that whoever carries the mantle within the PDP will emerge victorious in September. One of the governorship aspirants who will be looking forward to taking up that challenge is Asue Ighodalo. The immediate past chairman of Sterling Bank last week formally declared his intention to contest the governorship of Edo State on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. The lawyer turned politician promised to harness the state's resources to create wealth for all. Joining us on the show this morning to discuss his plans for Edo State if he eventually goes all the way to Government House and if he's truly being backed by the incumbent governor, Godwin Obaseki, is Asue Ighodalo, PDP governorship aspirant in Edo State. Good morning, Mr. Ighodalo. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo, and good morning, Rufai. I wish I was in the studio with you, but my working and walking around has made it difficult for me to get back into Lagos or Abuja. But good morning, and nice to see you guys.
Thank you for joining us. Well, very quickly, I mean, many people will be surprised that you are now in politics, considering what you've been able to do. Big corporate player, chairman Sterling Bank, chairman Nigerian Breweries, chairman Nigerian Summit Economic Group, director Nigerian Sovereign National Authority, and then you've been economic advisor at one point to former Governor Adams Oshiomhole. You've been chairman board of trustees of the Ighodalo Summit, which is the investment body for Edo State, which in fact said Obaseki had managed in 7 years to increase Edo State economy by about 147%. Having been part of this process, what are you still looking for? What is the missing link that you want to go and address, as governor? Because you've been there, or you've been here, you've been there. Is it that you have to be governor to feel a sense of fulfillment?
Thank you very much, Ruben. And again, I'm glad to be here. And again, Chairman, please say former Chairman. I'm resigned and retired from all of those positions now. So thank you. Truly, I have been blessed and have been successful, or moderately successful, in all the things I have done so far. And in my advisory role, particularly to the Edo State government and in other capacities, and my time on the board of the Sovereign Investment Authority clearly showed me that there's a path to help our people out of poverty, out of want, out of neglect. Previous governments have done modestly well, relatively well, but I think that I can also bring to bear a lot of the experiences that I have garnered over the years from my international, local, and other connections. And this is what I want to bring to Edo State. Over the years, I keep coming back to Edo State. I keep coming back to Nigeria. You look all over Nigeria, the pain on the faces of our people in Nigeria. Truly, our people are suffering. And I don't think it's necessary with the resources we have, the manpower we have, and I want to drill it down into my state. That's where I can immediately offer my services. So that's all. There's nothing more than that. I think it's the hand of destiny. It's a calling. I think I can truly contribute my own quota to helping to lift our economy out of where it is, lift our people from poverty, provide the necessary infrastructure. And I think we can start this journey of moving Nigeria from the third world to the first world. You know, we always keep talking about a country with potential, a country with potential. It's high time we started this process of realizing that potential fully. And I just want to contribute my quota by the grace of God, and if the good people of Edo State give me the opportunity. And so that's why I'm here. Nothing more, nothing less.
Right, brilliant. You talk about the good people of Edo State, and I'd like to center on that. I'm sure you must have heard in some quarters where you might have been referred to as an outsider. I think it's quite instructive to see that you're speaking to us from Benin City in Edo State. And coming from a very strong track record in the business world, some people might be of the opinion that you might not be able to connect with the people in terms of grassroots, politicking, campaigning. How would you respond to this in terms of the fact that you're able to work with people at different levels? Because what we've seen you strongly hold positions in is at leadership levels, but now it comes to the grassroots, the people of Edo State. What would you have to say about that, or how would you respond to that?
Actually, I think it's a distraction. I think it's people that want to distract from what the real issues are, that start talking about outsider, homeboy, and things like that. All my life, I've always been in Edo State. My father worked in Benin, so I spent a chunk of my holidays in Benin, a chunk of my Christmas and Easter in the village. I traveled around the country with both my parents. So I'm not new to life in Edo State. My father lived in New Benin. I had a lot of friends there. We played, my younger brother and I particularly, we were always playing football, running around the place, running in the rain. So life in Benin is not new to me. Moreover, in the last 16 years, I first advised the government of Adams Oshiomhole on his economic team. So I've been in and out of Benin. In those 8 years of Governor Adams Oshiomhole, I was in and out of Benin maybe once a month, because we worked really hard on the economic team, putting in place economic agendas, policies, and guidelines for that government. After Governor Oshiomhole, Governor Obaseki, when he came on, asked me to head the private sector think tank that every year organizes the annual Ighodalo Summit, and also provided checkmate recommendations to the government. So this brought me in and out of Benin, and apart from that, I have friends in the state. I have relatives in the state. I have a house in the village. There are things I do for the people in the village under my parents' foundation, Jerry and Folayegbe Foundation, with my brother, my sister, my wife. There's so many things we do. I run a microfinance, we give scholarships, we help with boreholes. There are many things we do. You don't really have to run around and make noise for you to indicate or to show that you're doing things. So I'm very conversant with the people of Edo State. And apart from that, my work in the advisory committee and economic team showed me very clearly where the pain points for our people are. And I know that working where previous governments stopped, I can build on it, I can help our people out of poverty, working with a strong team. We still talk about no light, no water in 2024, the kind of things that we really shouldn't be worrying about, the kind of things that are Stone Age things are still a problem for us in Nigeria. So I just want to I don't want to deal with the problem because I have my views about the problem at the national level. I think we should just come to the sub-sovereigns. And if we have 6, 7, 8 sub-sovereigns that are doing really well, then the peer pressure pull of those sub-sovereigns will help the country at large. So that's the way I see it. That's what I think. The distractions, I'm focused, I'm not paying any attention to those distractions. We have so many Nigerians that have capacity all over the world. Many Edo State citizens with capacity all over the world, in the diaspora, in Abuja, in Lagos, in Kenya, in South Africa. We need to bring all the best hands on board. And you really can't say, because you've lived outside the state for a while, you can't come back into the state to contribute to the development of the state. We need to bring the best minds, the most brilliant, the most creative, the most adaptive to help us with building Edo State. Okay. And like I keep saying, I see a path. I see a path for Edo State to be a first world state, regardless what's happening in Nigeria. And that's how we're going to develop Nigeria. That's the only way I see. I don't think it's going to be top down. I think it's going to be bottom up. for the development of Nigeria. Developing in a democratic environment is truly going to be bottoms up. And that's what I want to contribute to if I'm given the opportunity by the good people of Edo State. And I'm focused, I'm not distracted, I laugh, and sometimes smile when I hear all of these things. And I say, it's people, when you talk about empty barrels making plenty of noise, it's people that really don't have anything to offer that want to distract. If you have to offer, you'll focus on what the issues are. And that's what we are focusing on. Thank you.
So, all right, Mr. Ighodalo, so a couple of things, and good to talk to you finally, and congrats on your
this is Rufai.
Yeah.
Rufai, I hear you've been looking for me.
I didn't see you now.
I just heard from... I just heard on the grapevine that you're looking for me. I was wondering why Rufai particularly was looking for me.
Okay.
But anyway, hi, how are you?
Very well. Good. So a couple of things, sir. Number one will be, from 2015 to about now, Edo has taken on over 100 billion in debts. What will be your approach to lessen the debt as against what Mr. Obaseki has done? That's number one question. Number two, what is it that Obaseki has done or has not done that you want to come and do and improve upon? Number three.
Which one is it? Done or not done?
Done or not done that you want to improve upon. Number three, are you Obaseki's third term?
Okay, fine. There's the issue about debt is this, and there's no problem with taking debt if you're taking debt for developmental purposes and for purposes that regenerate the economy and build on the economy and grow the economy. So there's no problem. The issue is how we use debt. One of the things we've noticed in our economy is that there's so many leakages. We take the debt and it leaks. We take the debt and we use it on current expenditure. That's the issue. From what I see, a chunk of the debt that has been taken in Edo State has gone towards capital expenditure. And, I don't see a problem with that. If we use debt properly, debt is going to re-earn, debt is going to restructure the economy, and it's going to create an economy that is growing at multiples. So I don't have a problem with that. What we will do is that we will continue looking at those areas where we can regenerate the economy of Edo State, where we can push poor people out of poverty, where we can remove our people from subsistence bases, and where we can grow the economy at a rate that gives us the revenue base to pay back this debt faster. So I'm not scared of debt. I'm not worried about debt. What I'm going to make sure of is that by God's grace, we won't have those leakages that make debt a problem. So debt in itself, and if you look into businesses and look at business balance sheets, you see that they take debt. Sometimes you take debt to restructure your balance sheet. But the important thing is, what do you use that debt for? That's the key. So we will use our debt positively for the benefit of the economy of our state, so that the debt can earn for us. And so repayment of that debt will never be a problem. So it's not a function of taking debt, it's what you use the debt for. So I'm not worried about that at all. I'm not worried about that. What the governor has done well, in fairness, in certain areas, and there's certain areas that he could have done better. So let's pick education, for instance. I know, because I was on Governor Shomole's economic team, that by about 2016, we weren't doing very well with education. That has changed in the last 7 years. Edo State probably is one of the top 3 states in education, primary and secondary education in the state. And that's truly remarkable. I even know of a family, there was a gentleman who told me that his daughter was in primary 6 and he had to move her back to primary 3 because the younger brother that was in primary 2 knew much more than the primary 6 sister. So they're seeing the effect. Teachers are being trained, our schools are using tabs, they're going into the first world, they're using technology. So he's done great there. What civil service reform, land reform, land restructuring, the palm oil program, the fantastic program. If you go to the Pobauha local government in Edo State, it's becoming a major industrial belt. following through with the gas pipeline area. There's work going on the Benin port. So there's a lot of great things that have been done. There's Edo Best. Edo Best, for instance, or Edo Jobs, sorry. Edo Jobs, for instance, is a great program, but it seems not to be working as effectively as it should because it's focused more on those who are already skilled but looking for jobs. What we need to do now is to trickle it down to those who are not so skilled or who are semi-skilled, who are looking for jobs. And then we have to go into the issue of skilling and scaling skill. You know, that's really critical. And that's going to help in bringing investments, because if you have fit for purpose citizens, it'll bring in investment. So those are some of the areas that things haven't been done well. And of course, roads. And you can argue it any which way, you know. Government on its side says things like the federal roads being bad is causing pressure on the state roads. So you can argue it, but we're looking at this, me and my team, we're looking at this, but we know that from a priority perspective, we must deal with roads from the rural to the urban area. Farmers need to be able to bring their products into town. People need to be able to travel from one place to the other. We know I've been going around the state, and sometimes, you know, truly the roads can cause you grief, you know, and it's a danger to life, you know. So we will work on roads. But I see that a lot of work has been done on artery roads. So this argument, state, federal, maybe what I will do is I will get to a point where we will make sure that we don't need these arguments. We look for creative financing to have alternative state roads from point A to B. For instance, we can have a state road from Benin to Auchi, and I know the economic impact of having an effective state road from Benin to Auchi, which can be creatively financed, blended finance, you know, cross-sectoral partnerships, even green financing. There's so many creative ways to finance. We had one of our team at the World Economic Forum this year, and what I told her was that, you know, just focus on where a sub-sovereign that's well-governed, well-regulated, transparent, and accountable can attract international funding. And we have a lot of Nigerians in the diaspora who are doing well in the infrastructure space, and we can access them. You know, what people want to know is that you are transparent, you are governing well, you are accountable. It's like corporates. The corporates that are well run attract more capital. It's the same thing. If you're a sub-sovereign or a sovereign, if you're well run, people know there are no leakages, people know that you're disciplined, then you will attract capital. So I'm not again worried about all these things, you know. If I bring the experience I've brought to bear in the last 30 odd years to bear in the States, I'm not worried. You know, all of these issues, what I think is that over time, we've burdened ourselves with not doing the right things at the right time. Now, what I'm going to try and do, or what we are going to try and do as a team, is to ensure we do the right things at the right time. So I'm not really worried about that. And your third question, you know, I've had that question being asked by many people, and when they ask it, I actually do shake my head. Yes, it's true. I've known Governor Obaseki for a long time. Well, I met him in university. We've been friends. He's an investment banker, and I'm a lawyer. So we worked on opposite sides, on the same side of big corporate transactions, particularly in 2005 during the restructuring of the banks. You know, so and we then developed a healthy respect for each other. But that's it. I respect his capabilities as an investment banker and some parts of his capabilities as a politician, and he respects me as a lawyer and a very serious-minded person. So in that regard, we're friends. I believe him, he believes me, but that's as far as it goes. You know, I'm not very sure that if Governor Obaseki is looking for a third term, it's Asue he'll come to, because he knows I'm fully independent-minded. I'm a different person from him. I don't see how he can I really honestly don't see how he can dangle me at the end of any rope. And you know, any politician in Nigeria that's still thinking of putting anybody somewhere for third term should think again. It's never worked. You know, people have put, you know, if you like, put you know, a domestic animal on a chair as the third term for whatever term, they get into power and they go their own way. It's never worked. And for me, very clearly, you know, Governor Obaseki, I respect him tremendously, but I don't see how anybody will say he will bring me because he wants to go on a third term. So I laugh when I hear these things, and I know that, you know, I just shrug them off, because I think it's again people that want to cause this.
Are you loyal?
What do you mean by loyal to him? I'm loyal to the people of Edo State, if by the grace of God the people of Edo State elect me to be their governor. So
Mr. Ighodalo, let's leave this matter.
Ruben, is that you?
Yeah, let's leave this matter. Let's leave this matter about loyalty. You want to be governor. We expect you to be loyal to the people of Edo State. But let me ask you, why the People's Democratic...
That's what I said. I said I will be loyal to the people of Edo State.
You had said you respect him. That's fine. Why the People's Democratic Party? I mean, if we look at your profile, you appear like an establishment person. You know, so why not APC, where most of the people there are also well known to you? Why the People's Democratic Party in Edo State? And how well prepared are you for the National Working Committee of the PDP coming on, I think, January 29 to screen the candidates? And you know sometimes how this screening takes place. It could be done and you will not be aware. You will hear that they are back in Abuja and the screening had been done and you missed part of the process. Are you prepared? The second thing is, after you declared your interest in the race, there was 3 days later, there was an accident. A trailer running into your vehicle on Sapele Road. And in the course of this conversation, we've been talking about doing roads, paying attention. Are you scared? Are you talking about roads because you got a scare on the Sapele Road? And now you think that's something that should be fixed?
Well, thank you very much. PDP, very easy. One of my closest uncles was the foundation chairman of PDP in Edo State, Chief Solomon Agwele. And we've always talked politics. You know, he lives about 3 or 4 doors away from me in the village. So I had an affinity in Edo State to PDP. And also in Edo State, fundamentally, I think the PDP has the stronger structures and the people relate better with PDP. And again, if you talk about party philosophies, although clearly many people don't see it, that parties in Nigeria have philosophies. But, you know, if you look very clearly, you don't need a microscope, just look very clearly. There are philosophical differences, slight. Sometimes people run through parties, but there's a culture, an overarching culture. And I think if we look deeply, we'll see that the PDP is slightly right of center, slightly, very slightly. And the APC is slightly left of center. But for me, fundamentally, it's 2 things. Chief Agwele and I have always talked about if I came into politics, and I used to laugh at him that, Chief, I wouldn't do politics. So we talked about it. And so PDP was my first call. And secondly, the structures of the party in the state are strong. The people fundamentally, if not for some misalignments in the party, the people fundamentally are PDP. So it's typically like a PDP state. So those were the things that moved me to gravitate towards the PDP. But most influential was Chief Agwele, honestly. That's the most influential. He's been, since my father died, the 2 Agwele brothers have been like surrogate fathers to me. And so that was important. And Peter, one of the Agwele sons, is very close to me on this trail. So that's it, really. And Peter and I had always discussed politics, you know, and he was my introduction 101 into politics. So that's why I'm in the PDP, you know. The issue of the screening, I think the PDP is a fairly well-run party. I don't think the days of when screening and things happen and people didn't know the venue, I think those days are long gone. The party is better organized, is stronger on the organizational side. We've been giving dates way ahead of the guidelines for this election process. Those guidelines are given way ahead, so everybody knows where to show up, what to do at a particular time. They give enough notice, enough time, and we've been giving notice of this screening for a while. So it will be on the 29th, it will be in Abuja, it's starting at 9 a.m., and they've asked us what to prepare, the documents to bring, and what to do. So I don't see a problem. I don't think there's anything underhand there. I think we need to go and present our credentials, answer the questions as to why we think we have the capacity to run the state, so that they're sure that they're bringing good people to the electorate. And I think it's a great idea. And I don't think there's going to be any malice aforethought. There's no basis for it. I suspect from my interaction with the PDP hierarchy to this point that they truly want their best foot forward. The PDP wants to continue in office in Edo State. The PDP wants to focus on helping the people of Nigeria and dragging the people of Nigeria out of poverty and making Nigeria a better country. And honestly, we need to look at how in a democratic process we will move our country into first world. If we look at what has happened in the last 60 years in our economy, many of us will shake our heads. And if you think you can input and add and help build, then you should. So I'm not worried. I think we have a fair process and a democratic process in the PDP, and we'll see what happens after the screening on Monday. For me, I take everything one step at a time. My key is to ensure that the PDP in Edo State is strong to be able to win the election. There's some misalignments, a few. We're trying to ensure those misalignments are aligned, and that's been the work I've been trying to do since I came into the party. Working, so because if those misalignments are not dealt with, it makes things a bit more complicated and difficult. So as to make things very easy, we're dealing with those misalignments. So I'm not worried. I think the party is well organized. I don't think there's any malice. I don't think anybody plays games. That's the old trick of old politicians in the old days. We are now in the 21st century. We've moved ahead. So I'm trusting in the system, and I trust really until you show me that you're not trustworthy, and then we'll deal with it at that stage. But that's how I've operated my life. That's how I've run my businesses, because I trust in the youth. I trust in the old. I trust everybody until you show you're not trustworthy, and that's how I'm going to operate. And it stood me well so far, because in the journey in the state so far, my approach, I think, a few have found it quite refreshing. And that's what I'm going to go with. I'm an open book. What you see is what you get. The accident, I think it was like any other accident. This overzealous trailer driver, that's one of the things we need to do. Guys on our roads need to respect rules, and they need to drive properly, and we need to enforce this process. Where the accident happened wasn't a bad part. The road wasn't bad there. The road was okay, but there was traffic, and I think this trailer driver wanted to beat traffic and was driving in a really reckless manner. So he hit my car. Thankfully, I had just moved out of my car into another car because I was going somewhere else with a friend of mine. So I just changed cars about 3 minutes before it happened. So I wasn't in the car at that point in time, thankfully. And I thank God for that. And then he was trying to run away and escape. And then he hit a few other cars and then finally hit a motorcycle driver. And we need to deal with these traffic offenders because they're really causing mayhem. They're really dealing with us in the society. We really need to make sure that those cars are for those trailers and those buses are truly fit for purpose. So we really need to bring back our VIO system. And our VIO system must be made strong and incorruptible, because the amount of lives we are losing on our roads because of careless driving or vehicles that are not fit for purpose are just too many. So it's another area in which I'm going to truly look to. But it wasn't a bad patch of the road. But to answer your question, because you are disguising another question, yes, we will focus on roads. It's part of what we are looking at as a team. There are parts of the state where the problem is not the resurfacing, because I see Governor Obaseki, Governor Shomole, Governor Yegun, Governor Ighodalo, they've done a lot of tarring. What then happens is that those roads, after a while, then become less than fit for purpose. And we've discovered that it's the drainage system. And we need to deal with the drainage system and the accumulation of water on the roads. And we need to drain such that Benin has a natural moat. So we need to drain such that the water drains into the moat. So it will help and stop the degradation of roads. Recently, down Nipoba Road, that same problem arose. There's a bad patch that has to do with the drainage system, and it's being fixed now. But the fixing is taking long because they need to redirect the drainages, And there's a lot of that, particularly in Benin and all over the state. We also have erosion problems. So in building our roads, we need to cater for erosion issues. Because if you're then driving towards Auchi, through Agunebode and those parts, you see a lot of erosion, roads being eaten into. So that means those who built the roads did not design them for the level of erosion. So we need to deal with all of these issues from base. So again, thank you for the question on the accident. As far as I'm concerned, it was just an accident, nothing ulterior, no malicious intent, careless trailer driver. Thank you.
Thank you. So you touched on a few things or some things that you hope to do if you do clinch the ticket to becoming the governor of Edo State. You've looked at climate change just now, but I know that when you declared
that I intend to do, not hope to do.
All right, intend to do.
Thank you.
So when you declared, you had come up with a new alias, AI. So that's the new rebranded for the purpose of the election. AI also leads me to the question around technology, because in the last, this current administration, Governor Obaseki invested quite heavily in technology. In fact, at some point, it was asked the question whether it would be the first e-governance government state in Nigeria. What are your plans for technology and shoring up investment in technology, bearing in mind that Edo State has the makeup of its population, over 60% being young people, and the opportunities in technology.
Correct.
Beyond that, I'd also like you to speak about other ways of internally generated revenue and maximizing other opportunities for revenue beyond the obvious, your crude oil and the obvious, your natural resources. Also, tourism is another aspect in Edo State that has been left behind for a while. Edo State was known to attract from around the world through its art and culture. What would you do if you become governor to maximize this?
You're already answering part of the question, so maybe. Yeah, you're already answering part of the question, so maybe I'll kind of bring you into my team, because you're already talking about tourism, part of our plan. So thank you. But let me go back to your first question on technology. I think this started towards the end of Governor Oshomole's term, but Governor Obaseki has fully digitalized governance in Edo State. They're getting to the point where nobody carries paper in the civil service in the state. It's not 100% yet, but it's close. And I think that's good for blocking leakages and good for efficiency. There's been a lot of tracking that's been done for bringing internet and broadband into the state, into every nook and cranny of the state. And I think Edo State probably has the greatest coverage of broadband in sub-sovereigns in Nigeria. I think so. I know Kaduna State also did a bit of work under El Rufai, but I think Edo State is number one. So, and it's really hyped and moved moved the development of the state, because every corner, every person has access to broadband in the state. So we'll continue working on that. I know Main One came into the state, IHS came into the state, and we're providing, and we're making it even easy for them to lay their cables and to continue growing broadband. And we will continue, because our future, not even our future, and now, because that's, for me, that's what it is. And now it's our youths. Our youths form the largest portion of our population. Our youths are creative. Our youths are purposeful. Our youths are very hardworking in Edo State. And, we really need to work with our youths, in the creative space, even in the technology space. So for me, really, it's a no-brainer, our youths and our women. We really have to make them work for us in the state, and we have to bring them fully on board. There's no other way. We can't leave half of our population or 3/4 of our population out of the process and think we want to develop at any appreciable rate. It's not going to work. So we're going to focus on technology. We're going to have a technology-driven government. We're going to create a technology-driven environment. We're going to work with our youths full blast. We're going to work with our women full blast. That's the only way. And that's how I've always operated in the things I have done in the past, in my businesses and in any organization I've found myself. So for me, it's a no-brainer, and that's the purpose, and that's how we're going to be driven. Revenue generation, really, we need to up our economy. And that's why I say I have a path. I've seen a path. I've seen a path of moving Edo State from the third world to the first world. And I can very quickly run through things. If we have, and I've looked at the maths, we build a road from Benin to Auchi, 2-lane, proper road, tolled road. And I know you'll ask questions about the experience of tolling in Nigeria, but you toll it and you structure the tolling in a way where heavy duty vehicles, transport vehicles, pay higher toll than vehicles that are transport vehicles or private vehicles, and we can restructure it, and we can have all kinds of blended financing, and we can have all kinds of consolidated financing and consolidated partnerships, and even green finance. So what we need to do is to look at what's happening in the world and be creative. If you have a governance that's trusted, people will gravitate towards that governance. So we create that road. That road raises our GDP by itself, and from the businesses that can be attracted and can derive from that road by about 2%. And we look into our tourism space. I started talking about it. Edo State is really a great tourism hub. The institution of the Governorship alone, and tourism around the Governorship, our Oba in Benin, tourism around him alone and around the institution of the Governorship, can earn us massive, massive returns. And Benin people are already welcoming people and service-oriented. So it won't be a problem. What about the bronze carving areas and the museums we're building? And the moat? the greatest natural moat that's not man-made is in Benin, and the wall of Benin. You still see the remnants of the wall there. So they're great tourist attractions. And I went up to Auchi for. I went up to Auchi for Auchi Day the other day, and the celebration and. I see. Sorry. Yeah. I thought I hadn't finished answering that question.
Oh, please just quickly wrap up so I can ask the next question.
I was just trying to tell you that, I'll just summarize that there are many, many economic generating resources in the state, all over the state. Agriculture, tourism, investments, all over this. And following the gas pipelines, we can build full industrial estates. And if we build the port, that's another economic scope altogether. So I see prospects, I see opportunities, I see great hope.
Thank you so much, and I'm excited you talked about the great potential of Benin. The Benin moat, which was man-made actually, was built between around 800 AD to about over 1400 AD. In fact, it's one of the biggest architectural feats by man after the Great Wall of China.
Wonders of the world.
Wonders of the world, and it's well recognized, and it was built by the great Benin people there. I deliberately asked a question earlier on loyalty. You pushed my question aside, but no hassle. That are you loyal?
Question aside. Answer your question.
No, are you loyal to the governor? Because the political landscape in Nigeria, somebody stands for you as they bring you in. And why I deliberately ask that question is that you're coming to a party that has its own large divisions before now. What work has been done as regards the internal divisions in the PDP? There's another, deputy governor currently of the governor that is at loggerhead. Some people are on the side in the party. Prior to this time, there were once parallel primaries of the PDP in Edo State. So what work has been done? And who is holding you back? That's why I deliberately asked the question, are you loyal to the governor? Because the power of incumbency plays a role in politicking. But you say you are going it alone, it's fine, it's the people you're there with. Secondly, there's something that is paramount in my heart and the heart of a lot of Benin people, is the issue of the Benin bypass.
Yeah.
Also the issue of that Sapele road that gets out of Benin, the state of that road. And we have seen many deplorable pictures as regards that road. What's your take on that? What will be done as regards the issue of the Benin bypass, that Sapele road out, and the internal wranglings in the PDP as we speak? So that's why I asked the question of loyalty.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back to the loyalty thing. And honestly, it's not a cliche or anything, I'll be elected by the good people of Edo State to serve the people of Edo State. So my loyalty point is to the people of Edo State. I will work flat out for the people of Edo State, for the benefit of the Edo State, and to raise our people out of poverty and to build a first world economy. That's my loyalty point. I'll be loyal to the people of Edo State, straight. Yes, there are misalignments within the party. Even within families, there are disagreements. But I know that the leadership of the party, they're all working on bringing all these misalignments into alignment at the national level, at the state level, and even in my own little way. I'm going around talking to people that, it's better for the party to be one. And I've talked across the board to all segments of the party, to all thinkings within the party and philosophies within the party. And I see that fundamentally the people care about the party, the people in the party care about the people of Edo State. So those things will make the party, not forget, but they'll understand their differences, but they'll be able to move forward to work in tandem for the benefit of the people of Edo State. And that's my focus. And that's the focus of all well-meaning members of the party, that those misalignments within the party are cured and the party works as one towards nomination and towards the general election, so that we can continue offering the good people of Edo State the services that will move the state to the next level. So I'm not too worried. Even within your studio there, I'm sure the three of you sometimes disagree, but then the important thing is that you come back to agree, and for the benefit of Arise, you then move forward purposefully. And that's what we're going to do in Edo State. So I don't see a problem with that. And so whether you tie it with loyalty or you tie it with the party, the important thing is that we're going to focus to do the things that must be done for the benefit of the people of Nigeria and the benefit of the people of Edo State. On the issue, we're going back to the issue of roads again, on the issue of Sapele Road, Benin Bypass is all roads, and there are those roads that people argue that they are federal roads, and there are those roads that are state roads. I've always argued that whether it's federal or state roads, it's the people of the state that use the road, it's the people of the state that are inconvenienced. So we must find a way to ensure that the federal roads are rebuilt, are restructured, that it's important that they're rehabilitated. Whatever it takes, we must find a way to make sure that is done. So that those federal roads don't put pressure on the state roads. Because the federal roads are in a bad shape, it's affecting transport, it's affecting the logistics, because Benin is naturally a logistic hub, is a logistic center. From logistics alone, Edo State can earn multiples of income and revenue. So we need to ensure that these roads that come in and go out of the state are good. So whatever it takes, as governor of Edo State, whatever it takes, I'll make sure we deal with these roads, and these roads are good. We can find creative financing sources, working with the federal government. They're the tax exempt bills for some of these roads. We'll find creative financing sources, and I'm very conversant that with the people in Abuja, with many people in many of the other states, particularly states that border Edo State. So we'll work something. All my life I've worked on consensus building. In my corporate life as chairman of boards, we don't vote on boards in which I sit. We build a consensus. So for me it's easy. We can build a consensus. We can agree. Once we are all focused on the idea that we're working for the benefit of the good people of Nigeria, where there are disagreements and where there are misalignments is when people forget that they're supposed to be working for the benefit of the good people of Nigeria. And I will keep reminding everybody, for as long as you're working for the benefit of the good people of Nigeria, our goal remains the same. Get these roads built, and get them built well, at value for money, period. And we will do so, and I will achieve it by God's grace and working with the good people of my state and of the country. I have no problem with this. I work well with anybody, whichever party, whichever orientation. We respect each other. Once you respect people and you put better arguments on the table, most people are reasonable and rational. So I don't have a problem, Rufai. I keep looking around and I keep wondering why people create problems where there are none. So I don't have a problem. So we'll deal with these road problems. Is this issue of federal versus state, but we'll deal with it. So don't worry. 3 years after I've been governor, by God's grace, please come back to Edo State and then we'll have another conversation.
But just by way of wrapping up, let's clarify a number of issues.
Yeah.
One, you've talked about Governor Obaseki. You say you respect him and all of that. But Philip Shaibu, I'm sure you know him, has been saying that you are...
Very well, he's my younger brother.
Okay. He's been saying that you are the endorsed candidate of Governor Obaseki, and that Governor Obaseki has betrayed him after he spent his money to make him governor by bringing an outsider. But simple question, were you invited by Governor Obaseki? Just very simple question, simple answer. Okay. Number two, zoning, on the question of zoning, which is also a major issue.
Thank you very much, Ruben.
Philip Shaibu says he's
Ruben,
the
you're asking the same question. You're asking the same question.
No, it's not the same question. It's not the same question.
You again. No.
It's not the same.
Okay. I wasn't brought by.
Okay, please go ahead. You were not invited by Governor Obaseki.
I wasn't invited by Governor Obaseki for what I am doing now, and I've explained how I got in here. What the final push for me was the work we did on the board of the Sovereign Investment Authority. We did a lot of work that was social investment, and I saw the benefit of being able to impact the lives of people. In my corporate life, maybe I'll impact 5,000 lives, 10,000 lives. But I saw the benefit. I've always known the benefit, but I saw firsthand, sitting on the board of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority for 4 years, the benefit of working from the public sector perspective. If by the grace of God I become the governor of Edo State, I can positively impact the lives of 5 million people. That's against when you're sitting on the board of no matter how big the conglomerate, you impact the lives of 5,000 people, 10,000 people. It's different. And then the social rebuilding you can do, the cultural rebuilding you can do, the economic rebuilding you can do. And I see a path, and I keep talking about this path, and we need to examine this path. And all forward-looking leaders of Nigeria should see that path of where Nigeria can become a first world economy. And then if we all aggregate our resources positively, we can create it. For me, I will go back home to Edo State and I will start this process of kind of walking this path, of making sure that path builds and is realizable. So that's all it is. So honestly, I'd been thinking about this for a while, but because of my other commitments, I really didn't take it very seriously. Then I had a few of my friends in and around Edo State talking to me seriously about it. And one of the last people that talked to me seriously about it sadly passed on a few weeks ago, Chief Imai Jewere. He was one of the people that pushed me very strongly to really think about it, He's one. There are a number of other people that said, listen, let's look at our state. You've done so much elsewhere. Have you ever thought about coming into our state? And I laughed at it. Because I thought, what am I going to do in that space? I don't understand that space. But the more people talk to me about it, the more I discuss it with my family, my wife and my daughter and my sister, my brother, the more it kind of crystallized home that, listen, you've done so much in other spheres, can you give a bit back? And that's it, So okay, when, people keep thinking about this, somebody pushing you, somebody go, there's space. And I think if you have a vision, and you're able to convince the people of your state, because the people of Edo State, the people of Edo State are clear. People of Edo State are they're not people that can be manipulated. They're strong-willed, but they're fair, and they're just. And what they're looking at is, listen, what will work for us. They're totally independent-minded. People say different things. They don't get pushed around. If you run around Benin, there's the Edo spirit, and the Edo spirit is really strong. So you have to get to the minds of the Edo State people and convince them that you have a story to tell, and your antecedents will indicate to them what you may be able to do for them in the future. And that's what it is. And I keep telling people that it's only in Nigeria that when we want to employ leadership, we don't check what they did before. And we just bring anybody into leadership and we still get the same answers. If you want to employ somebody into a rise, you will check that they have the competencies and the capacity based on what they've done before and their qualifications. In Nigeria, we must start learning to do that. When you want to bring people into leadership, you must check that they have the ability from the antecedents. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Mr. Ighodalo, as we begin to wrap up, you have the endorsement of the people of Edo Central, your people. But to become governor, you need more than the people of Ewehime and people of Edo Central. How much support are you getting from Edo North, Edo South, other parts of the state, where there are also other candidates who are very strong, equally strong? Briefly, like less than a minute.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're getting support, increasing support from every part of the state. I've been going around the state, and I've been enjoying the kind of support that I think we require to make an impact and to win this election. And I'm fairly confident that if we continue selling our message, we continue telling the Edo State people that there will be effective governance, proper governance, transparent governance, we'll be able to pull people out of poverty, and you show them the path. It's not just to talk. It's easy to talk, but show people how you would do it. Creative thinking, creative financing, deep thinking, love of the people. So that's my story. And the more I spread that story, the more I'm convincing many more people that, there's something here. And so I'm enjoying, increasingly a lot of support from across the state. While from where I was 3 months ago, we're far ahead now. I'm enjoying increasing support. And I think I'll just keep on doing the things I'm doing, stay focused, stay working to ensure and convince the people of Edo State that I'm their best bet. And I put my credentials on the table. And I put what I have done, what I am thinking, how I am thinking, the kind of team I will work with, I put it on the table. So that Edo State people have the chance to weigh their options and determine for themselves what they think is best for them.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Asue Ighodalo, PDP governorship aspirant in Edo State. It's been good speaking with you and just hearing your intentions and plans for the people, the good people of Edo State.